something to numb my brain. In the sun, don't feel no rays. Don't tell me what to say. All I see is a misty haze. The sky is wet, the clouds are gray. Life lived in pounds of shade. Hey now, you're chilling with Diablo, and it's want you to stay a while. Hey now, you're chilling with Diablo, and it's want you to stay a while.
That was my friends Intoxicated Zen out of Morgantown, West Virginia. Welcome to Keep Mania Live. I'm a little out of sorts tonight because I'm not in my usual space. Obviously, you can see behind me. I don't have my banner behind me. I don't have my cool lights going. I'm actually in South Carolina, Hilton Head, South Carolina, at my parents' place down here. So I'm kind of on a little vacation, but the show doesn't stop just because I'm not at home. So I squeezed in my buddy Rauli V. He's with us. We'll get to him in a little bit. But I wanted to go ahead and thank Surit. I had Surit on from Finland last Monday, and that was a really fun show. It's posted up on the page, so check it out when you get a chance if you haven't yet. It was a lot of fun learning what they eat in Finland, and they didn't know what a biscuit was. They thought it was a cookie. And I was telling them about biscuits and gravy, and they're like, that doesn't sound very good. I was like, well, like a biscuit, so that was fun trying to explain to them what that stuff was. And the bass player almost dying from eating peanut butter. That was fun. So check it out when you get a chance. It was a fun episode. So let's see. Next week I will be back home in studio with Aristotle Jones. He'll be on. He's bring his guitar and his Appalachian blues with him, and he's been on the show before, but he's going to play live in studio, so that'll be a lot of fun. Can't wait for that. Thanksgiving week, and it's his birthday on next Saturday, so that'll be a fun show. But anyway, Rauli V, welcome to the show, man. It's nice to have you with us.
Thank you for inviting me, man. Thank you for having me here, man.
What's up? See, you were in traffic. We were talking a little bit ago, around 5 o'clock when we were going to go on, and he was in the car, and I was like, dude, it's okay. Go home, relax a little bit. Let's get you when you're at the house. You don't have to do it in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and I appreciate you for that, man, because as soon as I jumped on and I got in the car, man, it was like traffic just got into that grid traffic where it's just bumper to bumper. And, it's funny because it's like the scenery is beautiful when you're in bumper to bumper traffic in DC, because you got the monuments on your left, the Pentagon, like the mall, everything looks beautiful. But because you literally can't move, it's like a reckoning.
Nothing looks beautiful in traffic ever.
Exactly.
Like I was cruising down here and I was on I was on 95. I think 95
Mhm.
runs up that way too.
Yeah.
I get on 95 and everything was fine, and then all of a sudden it slowed down. I'm like, oh well, that's not too bad. It's not too bad. And then all of a sudden it just stopped, and I'm like, and there's nothing
Mm.
to look at because it's lined with trees, and it's just really I just want to get there because I'm almost here at that point, and it's just like
Mm.
so yeah, I can feel it. But I was wanting to get I was like, stay on. We can do it while you're in traffic and just see a beat on the steering wheel and But
I definitely would have too, man.
that's a whole nother podcast. I don't do podcasts like that.
As
But
long as I know this is live stream, so I don't know. Some people could have recorded it. Next, I end up getting locked up. I don't want any of that.
anything can happen. Yeah, it's crazy. We actually when I had my 1 year show back in July. One of the
Hmm.
guys, there was a thunderstorm up in New York where he was, and he had no electricity, so he went and sat in his car and dome light and everything. So he made it happen. Had to.
Dedication right there. It's kind of
Yeah,
like what you're doing now. The show doesn't stop.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I could have brought my banner and stuff, but I didn't. I just didn't. I would have had to go home and put it back up. I didn't want to do all that stuff. So
It keeps it real. Lets us know
yeah,
you're
yeah.
human.
I'm not home. I'm in another state, but the internet's not very good here, but it'll do. I think it'll be all right.
I think it will.
Yeah, nice tattoos, man. You got sleeves.
Yeah, I actually, it's funny too. I just finished getting these done about like I want to say about a week ago. So it's like still picking and like peeling off this and that in the front, man.
How many do you have? You have a lot of tattoos.
Well, I got both my arms done. I got my fingers done as well, and like right on my palms. And then I got my chest done as well.
Jeez, I got
Yeah.
I have three.
Oh, snap. Okay.
That's the
Oh,
only
hell
other
yeah.
ones. The other ones are on my leg. This is just it's like a cross kind of thing.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's the first one I got, and then the other two on my legs. So
Yeah.
I won't.
So
I
the
won't.
first, I was gonna say the first one I got, I covered up on here. The first tattoo I ever had was it was a Pisces fish, and it was just like the two fish thing, the whole zodiac vibe, right? But then eventually I was like, man, my arm looks super naked with just two little fish, and it wasn't like the gnarly looking ones that are all like over you. It was like, boop,
Fish.
boop. I was like, I gotta get these things covered, man.
Yeah, yeah. So Arlene sent me your bio along with the first email she sent me, and it kind of give me an idea of what you're about and stuff. So you're from New York City. You were born in New York City, and I guess by way of Dominican Republic, kind of explain to
Yeah.
me what. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
from.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I got you. So I was born in Manhattan, right? I lived in New York not too long, to be frank with you. I think up until I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old. Like I have like some core memories that I remember being like in the back of my father's Lincoln in the middle of Manhattan while he was doing like he was a cab driver, right?
Yeah.
And I have like all these memories of like Brooklyn and all these spots and stuff like that. But after that, I moved over to Dominican Republic. And when I was there, I was raised in DR, right? So by the time I came back to America, I was like 17, turning 18, right around then. But yeah, man. I mean, I was born in New York. I was literally raised in DR, and then now I'm cultivated by the DMV area, right? The DC, Maryland, Virginia, Baltimore. That's where I'm at now.
That's really not too far from from West Virginia where I live.
Hmm.
It's quite a drive, but it's really not that far.
Yeah, no, I used to when you said you were based out of West Virginia, I used to make that trip out there with a few buddies of mine to like hit the casino and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Back
Racing.
in yeah, yeah, exactly. Like that, Martinsburg, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't been to that one. My sister actually lives over that way, so she's over near there. She's closer than I am. I'm more the middle of West Virginia.
Okay, okay, okay.
In the middle, but Morgantown's where it's at for especially for
Mm.
music. Right around where I live, so you have to come to Morgantown sometime. Hey, I want to go ahead and play one of your songs. I like to do that at the beginning, so that way people can kind of hear what you're about and what your music
Cool.
is. I have "Can't Feel" loaded up for the first one. Tell us a little bit about that and a little bit about the genre of it and you know stuff like
Yeah,
that.
no, definitely, man. I mean, I'll tell you, Can't Feel. It was the moment we wrapped on Can't Feel. I knew it was the first song I wanted to release because it just kind of embodied everything that I'm about, right? And when I say everything I'm about, I'm thinking back to like when I first got into rock, right? And hopefully you guys get a feel for it as well, right? Just to kind of bring you guys into the process. The first version of Can't Feel and the version you guys are about to hear, two completely different beasts. I mean, the first version started off in a world of like Deftonesy, delay-ish, pedal-ish kind of vibes, right? With like even like all these swells and like vocal delays in my voice. And then eventually, after a few moments of like just slicing it up, we just wanted to keep it simple, keep it raw, and make sure the vocals kind of tell the story, right? But definitely, like I said, I mean, it's a song that bodies exactly what I want to do. Has a little bit of rock, has some hip hop cadence, has some Latin feels to it as well. Yeah, man, and I love it.
Yeah, it's great song. Let's take a listen to it. It's Can't Feel, and it says featuring, is it Ali Reza?
Yeah, Ali Reza, my boy Ali. He's from down here in the DMV as well. He sings for a band called Louder Than Quiet, and he was phenomenal on the verse that he put on the song.
Cool. I just wanted to make sure we mention him since he's in it also. Awesome. All right, well, here's Can't Feel with Rauli V.
It's killing me soft. I'm not anybody. Can't feel at all. I don't wanna feel at all. It's killing me soft. Can't feel at all. I don't wanna feel at all. My wrist bad and this wrist bad, but I still feel the pain. I broke free, now ran fast, but I'm still in these chains. But once again, I'm in my head. I'll never make the same mistakes again. Hope you don't mind. I'm running stops while I'm blind, yeah. Going down fast, lady luck, somebody's dying, yeah. I'll be okay, I'll be okay. I'd rather watch it down with Henny anyway. I can't deny it. These feelings are so strong that I can't fight them. Hurts to hide them. I can't decide if what I'm doing's right, 'cause I feel stupid and so useless. Can't feel at all. I don't wanna feel at all. It's killing me soft. Can't feel at all. I don't wanna feel at all.
Sometimes I feel like the man, sometimes I feel like a saint. St. Patrick Green to bring hate. Joan of Arc, I'm Jonas Spark, I'm forgetting mistakes. Cause I be working hard, I can't relish. Feel like I can't relish. Guess I just need more scars now. It's a big tears, feel like a big tears. Trying to bear fruit on my grizzly, but hibernating in my city. So many shoulders be chilly. I usher confessions from those who form weapons against me. But the pain in my life make it easy. Cocaine make a 3P. Heaven can't be far from PG. Dead inside, but they never believe me. Yeah.
Can't deny it. These feelings are so strong that I can't fight them. Hurts to hide them. I can't decide if what I'm doing's right, 'cause I feel stupid and so useless. Can't feel at all. I don't wanna feel at all. It's killing me soft. Can't feel at all. I don't wanna feel at all.
That's awesome. I love that. Your lyrics are very deep,
Thank you, I appreciate that, man.
especially with when I was trying to write a description for the show earlier today, and I usually have a lot more time, like a lot more time to write up stuff and promote a little bit. But when I was listening to Bonnie and Clyde, which we'll listen to a little bit later, and that one's real deep too. When it comes to like, and I guess it's the type of lyrics that anybody can relate to. Correct?
Yeah. And I mean, I'll tell you, for me, like I've tried to like do that whole thing where when like you want to write great happy moments, and like you want to do like a song where people end up dancing, or you want to show it to like, your grandmother, your mom, whatever the case is. But for whatever reason, the things that stick the most with me is when I express myself on and when I get vulnerable, right? And
Right.
the majority of those moments, it's something chaotic that's happening, right? And for me, like I'll keep my cell phone super close. I get the memo pad, the notes ready, and anytime something happens, I have to capture what's happening so that I can convey it as well. Because at the same time, that's just how I cope, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And writing helps. I mean, that helps me too. I play guitar and stuff, and I hadn't written in like a long time any lyrics or any songs or anything. And then a buddy of mine started playing. And he's like, "You should write some more," and I did, and it just I feel a lot better. Just after
mhm,
writing stuff down, even if the songs are terrible,
yeah,
and I'll go back and rework them, but
yeah.
it's
It's like
just
a therapy
writing,
session,
yeah.
almost
Writing and
therapeutic,
writing and music. I mean, even whether it be listening to somebody else or doing your own, it's awesome.
Mhm.
So
Facts.
so you were in Dominican Republic for pretty much your growing up years.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Is your family from there also?
Yeah, so we're full bred Dominican, from the food to the culture to the music, everything in between. And I think half of that is the reason why I got pushed into rock, because in DR you're listening to bachata, merengue, and all that stuff. Obviously Spanish being my first language, English is my second.
Okay.
But all that is like damn near forced upon you, right?
Right.
And the whole rebellion phase that I had pushed me into rock, pushed me into like listening to a lot of metal music and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Uh, yeah, so that's why, and then not only that, but there's a huge Dominican rock scene that's in
Really?
DR as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's what really started cultivating like what I enjoy, right? Because back in our island, big rock bands aren't who's going to the Caribbean, right? Obviously, from a cost perspective, it costs money, but also from a listener side, is are people actually going to show up? You don't know that, right?
Well, when
So
you think of
because
Caribbean, you think of Caribbean music. You know what I mean?
exactly, exactly. You're
Yeah.
thinking about maybe some reggae, maybe some Latin
Yeah.
vibes and stuff like that. Yeah. So when you're down there, because of that, we would always find ourselves mimicking bands or making tribute bands, right? Since
Right.
we
Okay.
couldn't get the Foo Fighters, or we couldn't get Metallica, Led Zeppelin, whomever it is, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, right? We would always have bands that are those bands, but in DR. So we would do huge tours in the island. We do huge festivals in the island, and it would always be packed because, just like every other country and all the genre division that there is, right? The metalheads, the rock heads, the alternative kids, the grunge kids, the ska
Yeah.
punk kids, the pop punk kids, they all exist down there. But when there's a rock show, because of socialism in the Dominican Republic, you are how you dress, right?
Yeah.
So no matter if you're a metalhead or you like Blink 182, right? You're buying a lot of similar outfits in a sense, right? Of how
True.
you
Yeah.
express yourself. So, and when there's rock shows, everybody goes. They don't
Yeah.
care how heavy or how soft it is. If it has a guitar and some drums, everybody's there to support it because that's all we have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that's honestly where I got huge. Like I got into music, and I originally I was just a guitarist, right? So when I was living down there, all I did was just play guitar. I was always like an enthusiast of. I always wanted to become a drummer, but I was more of a guitarist. And then I moved over here. But even down there was like the mindset was always like, you can't get anywhere with music. You got the dream is to find a way to America, and once you're in America, you can kind of keep the ball rolling.
So were you in a band when you were down there?
Yeah, the band. I was in a
What
band
were you
down
called?
there,
What was it
and
called? What was it
we were
called?
called No Salvation. No Salvation. Yeah,
Very
yeah,
metal.
yeah.
Very metal.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And we would like it's funny when we started, we were doing covers, we were doing like Dream Theater covers, we were doing Metallica
Really?
covers. Yeah, yeah,
Dream
yeah,
Theater covers?
yeah.
Come on
Dream
now.
Theater. I
Come
mean, yeah,
on.
bro, we were doing stuff like
That's
that. We were
crazy.
doing Metallica covers. We were doing even Thrice. Like I was a huge Thrice fan,
Oh
right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember the first day as a band, we played Deadbolts like perfectly, right?
That's
And we all looked and we were like, yes, we fucking did this thing, right?
yeah.
So yeah, in many cases, like a lot of other bands started doing more, and eventually we started writing our own music, but it was the caliber was on a different level, like America versus Dominican Republic from a music creation, just because there's only so many things we had access to.
Right. I see. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when you got here, so around 17, 18 years old, when you got here,
Yeah,
did you seek out like a band, or is there? I mean, I can hear band behind you for that song and for Bonnie and Clyde. Um,
yeah.
is there a band behind you all the time, or is it that just for your track?
So from a recording perspective, it's live music, right? So
Right.
usually on anything I've recorded, I've done all the guitaring, like tracking on the
Oh,
guitars,
you've done all those.
bass.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for certain tracks, like depending on the song, sometimes the engineer he'll hop on bass, or I'll hop on bass, or depending if I was in the previous act group I was with, that bass player would play on it and stuff like that. But from a writing perspective, it would be roughly 75-80% there
Yeah.
that I would get everything tracked, and then I'll call one of my homies to jump on drums, and then he'll do his thing,
That's
and it
fun.
would always just work out, right?
Yeah.
But even when I moved from DR here, did I seek a band? Yeah, that was the first. I was like,
Yeah. The
bro,
first thing
I'm
you
in
did.
America,
Yeah.
like I find, I made it. Let's fucking get this shit going, right? So
Yeah.
when I first came here, my mom and my sister they lived here in Maryland. Well, first they went back up to New York. My sister went to Ithaca, and she was in college. My mom moved in with her sister here in Maryland, and we just got, when it was time for me to come through. My dad was just like, "Yo, you got to roll. Like, there's a lot of shit going on in DR, a lot of delinquency, like a lot of bad stuff. You got to get out of here." So I came here. I was in DC, Maryland, Virginia area, the DMV. And when I finally got to school, the first thing I did, I was like, yo, I need to get in a band. I need to find a band. And then that's when I was smacked in the face with culture, with like the culture changes and the pigment changes. And, if you're black, brown, white, I had to go through all
Overwhelming.
those
Yeah.
motions. Yeah, I had to go through all those motions in like 3 months, 3 to 4 months going into high school. So it was like, for me, it was confusing because, in Dominican Republic, in my everybody's Dominican, right? But
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I go back after living in America for so long. Now I know that a lot of my friends are Korean descent or Indian descent, or they're from Spain or they're Dominican. But in my eyes, at that age, everybody's Dominican,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So because of that, when I first came to this country, when I was looking for bands, looking for rock bands, of course the majority of the folks listening to rock were white, right? So the majority,
Yeah.
like my first initial slew of friends were all Caucasian, right? Or they were like half Spanish or half black, and it was that vibe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But it was all cool. Like when I joined a band called Outsource, and that was in high school here, and that band literally was it was just a band of misfits, right? And we had a good time. It was all originals. We kind of did our thing. We put like a record out that didn't go anywhere, right? But we just loved it,
You
you
had
know?
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. We just had fun. And then after that, I joined another band called Free Addiction.
Free
Yeah,
addiction.
yeah,
Okay.
Free Addiction. Yeah. And that one, we started getting the ball rolling. We did a few tours. We played in Delaware. We played Ward. We played a lot of these little pockets
Yeah.
regionally, right?
Mhm.
And then after that, I was like, some things were happening off with that band. I was like 19, 20, 21 around that time. And at the time, I remember someone stole my car and my guitar was in the trunk.
Oh.
And I was so pissed, man. I was just like, yo, like, I don't even care about the car. It was like some Thunderbird
Yeah. Yeah. You're
Chevrolet
not caring about the car at
car.
this point. It's a
I don't care about
yeah.
the car. I'm like, yo, I need to get my SG back, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And at that time, I was still playing guitar in all these bands. And then after that, I went through some stuff personally, some things that had to do with like drinking too much, having a little bit too much fun without direction. And then eventually I was like, bro, I just got to get back in music, because I stopped playing music because
Oh
I didn't have
yeah.
a guitar, and life was happening.
You were
And then
lost. Yeah.
eventually, yeah, eventually I was like, man, I got to slow down, I got to get back into what I care about. And I went to buy a guitar, and I started gigging with like a bunch of like neo soul bands and like jazz, jazznetic bands and stuff like that. And eventually on while I was doing some session work for some of these people, I met the last group before starting this project, which was called In Your Memory.
Okay.
Right, that band was where I really got the ball rolling. I really started learning, the business, because we started getting on huge tours. We started getting a lot of support regionally in Baltimore, DC, Philly,
Right
Ohio.
there. That's like a triangle of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
and exposure. It's crazy. Like it's all in one area. I mean,
hell yeah.
it's the best.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So then while I was in that band, we were a four piece. And eventually, like we had a singer at the time, and eventually, like I just started singing. Like it was like I was singing
Took
backup
over.
because I knew how to hold the tune or something like that. And
Yeah.
every time I would sing, I would cut through more than our actual singer would. And eventually, the bands that we were on tour with, those singers pulled me aside and they're like, "Yo, you guys got to stop being a four piece. Like you need to put the guitar down. You need to get a guitarist and you just need to sing." And then after, a good 2-3 years of touring, of failing, of sleeping on couches because we were on tour, buddies' houses, and of we're figuring out my feng shui, if I may, like on stage, like my presence, who I am. Now this is where I'm at, man. Like now I created this project called Rauli V that it kind of
I think it's good. It's different.
Yeah. I mean, it collides everything that I care about, man. It's still rock. It's still, up to speed with hip hop and some of the newer stuff that's going to have more Latin influences to it. But it kind of goes back to the kid that started in the Dominican Republic that was listening to Spanish music, but he just wanted to be a metalhead.
Speaking of Spanish music, the next song we kind of switched it up right before we started. So you got to help me with the title.
Yeah. So this song is a cover I put out through 2020 because honestly I was learning how to self-produce myself because everything on this project, everything was done in the basement that I'm in right now, right? So I take a lot of pride in it because I'm like, yo, I've dropped too much money than I like to admit on huge records that didn't go anywhere, and now the music that I did in my basement is starting to find its way into people's ears. But this song, it's originally by Bad Bunny. The song's called Si Veo Tu Mamá, which means if I see your mom. But it was one of the first songs that I did when I started kind of like producing, getting into beats. I gave it like a rockish kind of feel with guitars and stuff like that. And it kind of just gives me a feel of what some of the newer stuff I'm going to be putting out will kind of sound like.
Yeah, I heard effing problems, I guess is how.
Yeah.
And I had to kind of take a double take, and I'm like, wait, because I listened to Bonnie and Clyde first, and then I listened to that, and I'm like, it's like totally different genre-ish, but it works. It's awesome. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a listen to. Say it again.
Si Veo Tu Mamá.
Yeah, let's take a listen to that by Rauli V.
Hell yeah.
Todavía yo te quiero, pero sé que es un error, porque ya tú no me quieres y sin ti me va mejor. Y si veo a tu mamá, yeah, yo le pregunté por ti, pa' ver si tienes a alguien que te haga feliz. Y es que estoy arrebatado, pensando en todas las veces que te lo metí, pensando en todas las veces que tuve pa' ti. No sé por qué diablo me engaño, diciendo que te olvidé cuando te extraño. Solo comparto memes, ya yo no escribo nada, y no he borrado tu foto, solo la puse privada. Maldito año nuevo, y lo que me trajo, ey, me botaron al trabajo por estar mirando pa' abajo, pensando en ti, siempre cabizbajo. Me veo gordito, nada que rebajo, no sé por qué la vida me trajo, pensando coger un atajo. Conocí a alguien, pero no sé nunca encajo. A menos que seas tú. Baby, te quiero aunque diga lo contrario. Llevo 6 meses solitario, pero 'cause tonight I'm going drinking with my friends. They said your night was bringing up again. It's 5 a.m., the sun is slowly rising. So spark me up, if not I'll call
sin ti me va mejor. Y si veo a tu mamá, yo le pregunté por ti, pa' ver si tienes a alguien que te haga feliz.
Little chuckle at the end, huh?
Yeah. That was probably just me laughing at myself.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was looking at there's actually lyrics on Apple Music. There's lyrics for that, but it's all in Spanish, so I don't know what it's saying. So I can learn.
Yeah.
That's a good way to learn, right?
There you go. Yeah, now that one too. I was doing this thing because at the time I like opened up this YouTube channel where I was doing like different renditions. That's why the EP was called Renditions. But I was doing all these different covers in a sense. I was doing like album reviews and stuff like that. And when I was doing that song, a lot of folks were like, "Yo, I wish I knew what the song was about." So anytime I would get like an interlude or like a break,
Yeah,
I
so it's
would
got it in English.
yeah, I would spit the same thing he's saying in English, just so people can kind of get relate with it as well.
So that's why it cut into English right there is for yeah. Well, that helps. That helps us. We don't. And the Finland band that I had on last week, all their everything is in Finnish.
Oh
And
hell yeah!
because I asked him, I was like, because I really like a couple of their songs, and I was like, well, what do you have the lyrics posted anywhere? No, and if we did, they would all be in Finnish. I was like, but they sent them to me anyway, so I'm like, all of them have like dots at the top of the letters and like two A's and stuff, and I'm like trying to, and like it sound, but so I was like, well, this is a good way for me to learn Finnish, but I don't know what any of that
Where to
means.
start?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty, but it was all screaming, so is that kind of music, like rah, rah, so.
Hell yeah.
So that was fun, but and I'm learning a little bit. So this is another I can bilingual. I can be bilingual or
There you go.
or
You could be trilingual. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
Ready to go.
I can be very very lingual. I can be lingual. lingual
At this point, you could just have a lot of tongues, man. At this point,
Or I could just have a translator. That'd be good too.
Yeah, that works too.
So are you getting to play out anywhere now? Are you doing anything live?
Yeah, so live wise, man, I gotta say, so I'm doing more kind of audio tree-ish kind of things right now, like as we speak, right? So I had 2 or 3 opportunities to be able to do something live with the full band, but I didn't want to commit to them yet. And the reason why is just because it's going to be the first, it's kind of going to be like a debut live show, right? So I want to make sure that it makes, I want to make sure that it makes sense, right? I want to make sure that not only it makes sense, but it has some type of purpose, right? I mean, earlier I told you I was in a group where things started working. I got a good feel of the industry. I met a lot of great people who are helping me even out with this project. And one of the biggest things I've learned, especially if you want to have a good show, is that you have to have purpose, man. It can't just be like nowadays. Yeah, can you do a great show with amazing bands? Of course you can. Yeah. But if you're trying to do something where a lot of folks don't know you, then you got to make it feel more like an event than anything else, right?
Get them engaged also.
Yeah. Exactly. If they feel like they're a part of it, whether if it's a movement, whether if it's about the culture, whatever it is about the community, right? That's what really I want to make sure I gear everything towards, especially for the first go at this, right? But as far as like live streams and stuff like that, I'm setting something up where a lot of these songs, like at least the original stuff, I'm creating a raw version of these, right? Where it's like it's just my voice and a guitar, right? As raw as possible. So I'm doing a live version of that. And then I'm also going to be doing one with the full band that right now the band is learning it right now. I was actually at rehearsal on Sunday up in Baltimore because that's where all the guys live right now. And it was a vibe, right? And all these guys are people that are just, they believe in this project. And for me, it chokes me up because I'm like, yeah. Like they believe in it and it has nothing to do with them, but they want to be a part of it, right? So we're definitely working that one out to be memorable because that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, but are you gonna do it like live streaming, or are you gonna do it like live somewhere where people can come and watch?
So what we're thinking about doing for at least the one with the live band, the one that's raw is just gonna be me in this like decked out room and just me, just with the camera. For the live version, we want to introduce a few like close friends of ours, like people that have been a part of the journey for a while, just to kind of also give them some love while we're doing it. Well, and then we're gonna video, obviously record that, put that out and stuff like that. And then we eventually want to do like a live kind of audio tree kind of vibe, right? Where it's all live. It's if we screw up, just keep it rolling, right? Because I love those videos, man. Like
Yeah,
I
me
could sit
too.
for hours and watch a live stream all day.
That's why I love doing the show live. I mean, a lot of my friends and other people have said, why don't you just record it and then you can edit all that out. I'm like, but that's not funny and it's not
Yeah.
fun and it's I don't want it to become work. I mean, yes, some of it is a little bit of work, but it's a
Yeah.
very minuscule bit of work, because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's enjoyable to me. It's fun for me, and anything can happen. I mean, my dad could walk through that door anytime. I told him not to, but he could. He
Yeah.
could.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've tripped over a tripod that had the camera on it at one time at my house when I had a lot. But that you know, if I was to go edit that out, then what's the draw?
Hmm.
Somebody else with another another podcast or another show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean,
the live stuff is terrific.
yeah. I mean, and plus, I mean, to your point, like I feel like what comes after that substance is lost because we could probably be laughing, like dying laughing because your father walked in. But
Yeah.
when you cut that out, you're like, why the hell are they chuckling? Like,
And I
where's
would
the
start
joke?
talking to him and be like, "Hey, listen, look, you're on the thing." You know what I mean? And he would be like,
Yeah.
because I did ask him to co-host with me, and he didn't act like he was too interested. So I would want to co-host with me.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure his ear is right at the door right now. Just like, man, I should have
My
been in
mom,
there.
they went and got some food, I think. But my mom was, she says she loves your music because I was playing it earlier when I was
Oh yeah.
I was playing it earlier. She was like, oh, she's like, he's really good. I like him. But the lady that cleans her house, she's Dominican Republic also.
Oh really? Okay. Cool.
Dominican. I said
Dominican. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So she's like, you're gonna have to tell Nora about him. I was like, I will definitely do that. So
Oh yeah.
you'll have they live in West Virginia also. So their whole
Oh,
family
that's
goes-
dope. I wouldn't even
Yeah.
think there's too many Dominicans in West Virginia. And it's crazy too to that point because anytime like it's like anytime you see another Dominican doing rock because it's just like it's an enigma. We all look at it. We just know. So
Yeah.
we always keep in contact all day, every day. Not only like the ones back home, but like the ones that are in the US actually doing stuff, touring and stuff like that. Like the moment we know, we're like, oh shit, you too. It goes
It's
off
like
after
a
that.
club. It's like a club or
Yeah.
a clique or something. Hey,
Hell yeah.
Bonnie and Clyde. The more I listen to this song, it's and when I went to look at the lyrics, the lyrics they repeat, but not not as much as not. You can't tell them until you like actually listen and read them. But the more I listen to it, the more I like it. It's very powerful lyrically.
Hell yeah.
Where were you going with that? Am I on the right like page?
Yeah, no. I mean, you were spot on, man. I'll tell you, like the first, so Bonnie and Clyde was the first song, even though Can't Feel we wanted to release it first. Bonnie and Clyde was the first song a part of this project, right? I knew I wanted something that was gonna stay authentically rock, just because that's just who I am, right? And when it comes to the lyrics and stuff like that, like I mean, you can kind of just read it off and know, right? It's about being utterly broken and but also being in a place where someone leaves, but you do want them back, right? You do want to kind of put the pieces back together, right? And you're sitting there like, oh snap, like I didn't realize it really cut that deep, right? No matter the situation or the relationship or the partner, whatever the case is. But that was Bonnie and Clyde. It was just being completely broken and vulnerable.
Yeah, it's terrific, and I can relate to it. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it. Also, just the lyrics are just phenomenal, and the band is just
Wailing out, yeah.
a lot of energy put into it. So this is the latest release, correct? Or is this the first release? I think
No. So this is the latest release that came out a few weeks ago. Even though we have a new one coming up in like the next 2 weeks, which is Problems. To your point
that's
earlier,
a
right?
great song. Yeah, great song.
Yeah.
Nobody else is. I don't think many people have heard it because it's not out yet. But
No, it's definitely not out.
Arlene sent it to me, and it was banging in my truck when I was playing it.
Okay, man. I'll send you the video after this so you can kind of take a look at it.
Yeah.
Because on that video, it's all about the Dominican barbershop culture,
Oh,
right? Because that's where you vent your problems. Usually your barbershop is your first therapist, right? So that's where that concept comes from. But as far as Bonnie and Clyde, man, definitely is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a great song, and I think it's gonna blow up here pretty soon because it's very relatable lyrically, and it's got it's a lot of energy to the song. Let's take a listen to it. Bonnie and Clyde by Rauli V.
You're wasting my time. Used to be partners, Bonnie and Clyde. Used to stay up with you singing Sublime. Now when I hear them, it kills me inside. Damn, what a crime! Wasting my time. Used to be partners, Bonnie and Clyde. Used to stay up with you singing Sublime. Now when I hear them, it hurts me inside. You always made a scene, thinking the world owes you. Ooh, you're mad. Now that I expose you, these are the things that I never told you. These are the things that I always said. You had me drinking by the liter. Where is love? Have you seen it? Now throw your heart in the freezer. These are the things that I never said. You're wasting my time. Used to be partners, Bonnie and Clyde. Used to stay up with you singing Sublime. Now when I hear them, it kills me inside. Damn, what a crime! Wasting my time. Used to be partners, Bonnie and Clyde. Used to stay up with you singing Sublime. Now when I hear them, it hurts me inside. But it was make believe, living in a fantasy, drunk in love. I knew you'd be the death of me. These are the things that I never told you. These are the things that I always said. Baby, you're so evil. Think with my heart and not with my head. I'm feeling defeated. So I threw my heart against the wall to see if it hurts. I feel invincible, and I don't know what's worse. My heart against the wall, or me in the dirt. I feel invisible, invisible. These are the things that I never said. These are the things that I never said. Against the wall to see if it hurts. I feel invincible, and I don't know what's worse. My heart against the wall, or me in the dirt. I feel invisible. These are the things that I never told you.
The slow-mo outro.
I just now noted I never did. I always cut it off at the end, but I like that. That was cool.
Yeah, it's like that detune slow motion, man. Thing.
Beautiful.
Man, dude, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. I'll tell you, my boy Dave, he co-produced this song too, and there was one part like when we got to that end. So just take a step back. Any rock song I've ever been a part of, those ends that are like super epic and they just drops and it's just wailing. I am the biggest sucker for breakdowns like that. It reminds me of like for example, like I don't know if you ever got into like back in the day, listening to like Let Live or anything like that. But it reminds me of like bands like that, you know, Glass Jawish bands like that, you know, where it's like it's just chaos, right?
Mhm.
So I'm a sucker for that. But at that second half of the end part, he had this guitar lick that was super like he was like, bro, this kind of you just gives me like an Under Oath vibe, bro. I just want to put this guitar. He started and I was like, bro, if you like it, I love it. I said, just throw that shit in there. There's already 7 other guitars, bro. Let's just go.
That's awesome. I
Hell
think it
yeah.
worked out for you. So,
No,
are
it
you in your
definitely did.
are you in your underground studio right now? Your basement? Is that your
Yeah,
studio?
yeah. It's a mess right now. Here, let me see. Don't
Oh,
judge all the chaos,
yeah.
but
Nice.
yeah, I am down here right now.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm not in mine. I'm in South Carolina in a random room. But
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
you have to come back on the show sometime when I'm in my actual space. I have a little like ambient light, or not ambient, but you know, a little light going on.
LED thing, yeah.
Got my banner in the background and stuff. But
Yeah, I'll be down, man. Just invite me
yeah,
over.
yeah,
We can hang out for another hour.
yeah, definitely. And you'll have. Hey, you're not very far from where I live, so just drive your car over.
Hey,
You
I'm
don't hit
down.
traffic. You don't never have to worry about traffic there. Well, sometimes you do, but you have to worry about other people. Other people can't drive. Hey, next Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, next Tuesday. So it's Thanksgiving week next Tuesday. I can't believe it's Thanksgiving already. That's crazy.
I know, man.
Hey, it was
Like,
70 degrees and not a cloud in the sky here today. So what was it? Snowing up there and cold?
when it was freezing, not snowing yet,
I
but
think
it
they
was
got snow in
definitely
West
cold.
Virginia. I think they got snow in West
Yeah,
Virginia.
yeah.
I think I saw a picture somewhere. So I got out just in time, but I'm going to go right back to it. But I'll
Man.
be back next week at home with Aristotle Jones will be down. He's awesome. I met him just like I met you on Zoom. Gosh, that's back when I had the show on Facebook, so that was been a while,
Hmm.
over about a year ago. So he was on the show, but he's gonna come down. He's gonna play live in studio right beside me,
That's cool.
and maybe I'll play some hand drums with him. I don't know. We'll see. We'll check it out when he
We'll
comes down.
figure it out.
That's next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. We'll do that show, and it's with Aristotle. I was going to play one of Aristotle's newest singles for the outro here. But Raleigh, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's very nice meeting you, and I look forward to let me know
I appreciate it,
let
man.
me know on Instagram or whatever, and when you're going to do your streams and stuff. I definitely check it out. It'll be fun.
Yeah, man. I might even hit you up just to get some tidbits, man. So just get some tips, man. That way I can make sure it's just right, just like you got it.
Yeah, and whatever new tracks you have, I'll well the new one's coming out soon. What November? Is
So
that
December
okay?
3rd, which I believe that's a Friday, we're gonna have the next track
Okay.
coming out. It's called Problems, right? And it
Yes.
starts going. It kind of helps us get into that next phase of what I'm trying to do, right? A little bit of everything.
Yes, definitely. I'll be playing that for something on here. So, I love it. It's a great song. So we're looking forward to that, man. And if you got a minute, stay on here, and then I'll talk to you a little bit after we go off the
Cool.
live stream. I'm gonna play a little bit of Aristotle's song. It's called "Ready," and we'll see you all next Tuesday in my spot. Take it easy.
If you would've stayed home, it'd have been a shame. I thought you were shy and test out my aim. So we'll send you up, and now you're on your way.